Hi everybody, welcome to ED5812. I hope you enjoy the subject. There's some main themes running through this subject and one large ICT task to complete. I'll start by talking about the ICT task, which I want you to start thinking about right from the word go. In the first 3 weeks we're going to have a look at a fair bit of content as well, but I don't want you to just look at the content in the first 3 weeks without really thinking about this task. The task involves the development of a web-supported learning activity, and to do this we're going to follow the WebQuest format. Now the WebQuest model's been around for a while, and it was chosen because it provides really good web-based scaffolding through a predetermined model. Having a predetermined model can be a little bit restrictive, but it also makes sure that we meet the objectives that we're trying to meet. Because, for instance, in the WebQuest model it mandates that the activity involves problem solving and higher order thinking, and I think that's missing from a lot of different web-supported learning activities that I see. Another advantage is that it's been widely and successfully used in a whole range of areas, from preschool to primary school, secondary school, university level. You can find WebQuests that are used in corporate training, government training, and there's lots of support in the web in form of tips, tutorials, videos, whole subjects, so there's a wealth of resources available to assist people with this. In addition to the WebQuest model, the other really important theme running throughout this course is getting our heads around design thinking, what design thinking means, what are the strategies of design thinking, and how can they be used to assist in developing a learning activity and to improve the design of the website and of the learning activity that you choose to be supported by that website. We're going to do this using Google Sites, so if you don't have Gmail, you need to get a Gmail account as soon as possible, so that you can access all of the free tools in Google, like Google Sites, Google Drive, a whole range of different useful tools. So once again, I'll say if you haven't got a Gmail account, do it now, get one. We also go through very important content, but that's concentrated mainly in the first 3 weeks. Some of this content includes some important themes that tie into the development of what we're trying to do with web-based learning resources, such as gender, themes about gender, learning theory, and so on. And of course there's a reasonable amount of content about design thinking, because design thinking at the moment, when you look at the Creative Australia Cultural Policy, there's only 2 main recommendations in that large policy at the end of it, and one of those recommends that design thinking is embedded throughout our whole innovation system, and that includes university, government, and so on. So design thinking, it's important that you have a look at the content in there and use that when you're developing the website. If you look at elite universities around the world, like Harvard MBA has been reconfigured to have 2 design thinking subjects in it. Stanford's D School, the world's leading engineering courses. In Australia, UQ has introduced a core subject on design thinking in their undergrad engineering degree, and it's also used, of course, in creative arts schools, medicine, lots of other discipline areas. The design thinking part will be concentrating on in week 1. Week 2 we'll look at a lot of the theory and the practicalities of producing a WebQuest, and week 3 we'll be looking at using Google Sites. Have a good look at what's required in the digital technologies task and start, as I said before, straight away on working towards that. In the resources we've created some videos to help with the basic functions of using Google Sites, but there's lots of things like that on the internet. So we've provided links to other YouTube videos that show how to use various functions in Google Sites. You can create quite good sites at quite an introductory level without lots of specialised experience, but if you're an advanced user, there are some pretty advanced things that you can use with Google Sites, and we've allowed for that too at different parts. I've got links to show that those sort of things exist. Often if you have trouble with something in Google Sites, you can just go into Google itself and put the question in there, because Google Sites is run by Google. There's a lot of help files in there and answers to questions. For example, it doesn't directly support animated GIFs, but you can do it in a roundabout way. And someone wanted to know whether it could support animated GIFs, so you just put in Google, can you use animated graphics or GIFs in Google Sites, and then you get everything you need to know about it. Same for most other topics there. But if you like looking at videos and looking at how the menus are pulled down to that level of detail, there's lots of videos on the web as well. Remember, when the website's being assessed, we won't just be looking at the technical quality of it, and it looks great, it's set up well. We'll also be looking at the quality of the learning activity. We'd encourage everyone to be active in the discussion board, blogs and wikis, because this subject's about learning how to use different tools online and use them in your teaching. You incorporate things like the use of blogs and wikis into your actual practical tasks that you design for your students, but we're also using them in the course as well to make sure that you have access to them. When you find something interesting in relation to online learning that ties in with what we're doing, or it could be something to do with design thinking or web quests, then when you're putting posts in or you're writing in wiki or in your blog, you can add links to things so that other people can benefit from what you've found. Now, the structure of this subject differs from an undergrad subject, of course, and because we have grad dip students enrolled in this subject, if you're one of those people, you need to be aware that this subject doesn't follow an undergrad way of having a weekly lecture based around content, that sort of thing. We do have that for the first 3 or 4 weeks, where we're going to concentrate on content, and you might have lecture slides, videos and things to look at there, but after that then we'll be mainly concentrating on the creation of your web-supported learning activity and how you support that in terms of theory and so on in your written section. The other thing too is, because this subject is a lot broader than an education subject, we have people from all sorts of different discipline areas doing this subject. We've had quite a lot of people, for instance, from the vet school, or when they did their web-based learning activity. I remember a really good one on vaccination, for example, so it's not just based on schools, but some of the people in this course, of course your activity will be based around a particular school level. But just keep in mind, if you've been doing undergrad subjects in the grad dip program, this isn't one of those, so it won't be structured that way, and you might have to get used to that if this is the first master's level subject that you've been doing. Okay, we'd like to welcome you to the subject. Aaron Agus will also be working with me on this, and he has industry standard Cisco qualifications, is very well qualified to assist, and I'm sure you'll enjoy the subject, and I'm sure that you'll benefit from using web quests, using Google Sites, looking at lots of different digital technologies that you can use in learning and teaching. I noticed that our university teaching and learning department, when they ran their days recently, teaching and learning days, rather than using the JCU website, they used Google Sites and set it up to look very much like official JCU site, but that allows them to make quick changes to completely control it themselves, rather than going through our ITNR and all the restrictions with JCU websites. In my subjects I still use Blackboard and base it on that, but I often construct web-based learning activities and all sorts of things in Google Sites, and then link to that to overcome some of the restrictions, of course, that are in Blackboard. So I hope you enjoy the course, I'm sure you will, and I'm looking forward to working with you.